admitted to cheating on Alina. Jenny and Sumit never told Sumit's parents that they got married, and Corey and Evelyn, their marriage is completely horrible, and all that and more happened on the 90 Day Fiance Tell All. Guys, we just got to see the apparently only part of the 90 Day Fiance Tell All. There are typically 2 parts of this season, I guess. There is just 1, and we got to see so much stuff go down in this 90 Day Fiance Tell All. I don't want to waste any time, so here's what we exactly got to see. Starting off with Steven and Alina. Oh my good lord, if you missed my last video, there was a sneak peek of the tell-all where Steven admitted that he was in communication with 9 different women after a fight that he had with Alina, and they were messaging him, you know, photos of whatnot of themselves, and he was responding and engaging and going back and forth, and it was not looking very good for Steven. And Alina, she's just way too naive and nice, and she was just basically saying, it's not that big of a deal. You know, she wasn't saying that. She was saying, it sucks, but I'm gonna let it slide and hope that he can change. Which is just like, if you're gonna hope that he would do something so drastic as changing from that, it's like, it's not gonna happen. So it was a disaster. It was ugly. We gotta see that. And just thing after thing after thing keeps coming out that Steven is clearly and without a doubt cheating on Alina after they got married and before they got married. And it's like, he's been cheating and cheating and cheating. He's cheated on his other exes. His other ex, Vanessa, actually came and she even said he cheated on me. You know, it's like they were in a relationship. He went to Russia and he was, you know, romantic with like 2 or 3 different women. After she told him not to, he still was, and he still told her he was. So I don't understand the big appeal with this guy. I cannot think of one person, not even one. Like, I have distant friends who watch 90 Day Fiance, and they all say the same thing. I can't stand this guy. So I don't get why Alina is just so infatuated by him. He's not a nice guy. He's a total player, and he's a dork. It's not like he's a player and he's a cool guy. It's like, he's a dork. So I don't know why she's with him. I can't figure it out. And Vanessa, his, you know, ex-girlfriend, said, listen, Alina, I feel for you. I've been in your shoes, and you need to divorce him. And Alina just keeps saying, I'm going to try to make it work. Marriage is a big thing for me. I want this to work out. And it's just really, really, really sad. So, Steven, Alina, we got to see them. Sadly, they are still together. They didn't really talk about living arrangements, but he came back to America. I don't know if he's living here. I don't know if he's going back to Russia. They did get married. She appears to be in Russia, but as far as I could see, unless I missed it, they did not talk about their living arrangements on where he is, where they're going. It was actually a pretty quick tell-all. There was so much stuff we had to get into for each couple. A lot of the little things like that were actually kind of left out. So, Steven and Alina, they are still together. A horrible couple. I feel bad for her, and I wish she would just run. More on them later, though. Now I want to talk about another couple, Ellie and Victor. They were a couple I thought for sure was going to break up, because if you don't know, a Reddit, or like a couple months ago, shared a picture of Ellie actually working at her bar, restaurant, pizza place, and everyone thought for sure, okay, she's back here in America. Everyone was saying there's no way Victor is here, more than likely, just because we saw how much they were actually fighting on 90 Day Fiance. For sure, we all kind of thought there's no way they're still together and that they have broken up. Because we also did get to see in the last episode of 90 Day Fiance that they were on, because they weren't technically on the last episode, but they were on the second to last episode, and we got to see Victor propose with a conch shell, and it was really stupid and cheesy and whatnot. So I thought what was going to happen was from that time when he proposed to now in present day that they've broken up and Ellie came back to America, but actually the exact opposite. The unthinkable happened, because she filed for the K-1 visa before she moved there, and it ended up getting approved, and the guy is now here in America. So they were once again like super vague about it, but to me, the K-1 visa, that's the 90-day thing. So isn't it like they have to get married in 90 days now? So they didn't really even talk about that. It was very vague and odd. It was just like Sean just casually said, hey, you know, you're here, what happened? And Ellie explained, I filed for the K-1 visa, got approved, he's here in America. And Victor was saying, okay, yeah, I'm here in America, but I want to go back to the islands. So, but I was like, well, are you guys getting married? I know that they were engaged, but it's like, are you going to actually have a real true wedding? It just seemed very odd and forced, and I don't know. Her friend came out, and the friend basically just said he cheated once, he'll likely do it again, and they're not a good fit, and they're constantly fighting, and they fight about money, and I can kind of understand the money situation, kind of. because he said that he wants to be able to take care of her, or at least just not take care of her, but just contribute to their financial stuff. And he can't, and Ellie's very cheap because she works hard for her money, which is great for her, and Victor is probably not as cheap. So I can see why she's upset, I can see why he's upset. They're not really meshing very well, it appears. He does have an anger problem, Ellie said, and he said that he's going to therapy, which is probably the best thing he can do. But one thing that I noticed that wasn't good was when the cheating got brought up, instead of just sitting there and saying, you know what, yeah, I cheated, I made a huge mistake, I am sorry, I shouldn't have done it, I feel horrible, he did the complete opposite, and he actually said, you know, who here hasn't cheated, and everyone cheats, and I'm not the first guy to cheat, which is probably about the worst thing you can say. He still will not own up to it and just acknowledge the fact that, yeah, you actually cheated very bad. It's horrible. You're not a nice guy. At least you weren't being a nice guy in that situation, and you owe Ellie an extremely huge apology. But instead, you guys, he did the exact polar opposite. So, yeah, I'm not cool with that. That was a big issue for me. When people don't accept that they did something wrong and apologize, not good. So, yeah, Ellie and Victor, I feel bad for Ellie. Apparently they're getting married. They don't seem to be married now, though. Weird, I don't really know. Very odd couple. I don't think they're going to be working out, but we will have to just kind of wait and see. And the only way that they would work out is because Ellie's just super understanding and nice and apologetic, and it's like she's the one floating this relationship and Victor's kind of just following along. It at least appears to me to be that way. So, Steven and Alina, complete disaster, but they are still together. Ellie and Victor, complete disaster, but they are still together. And that just, you know, that's just 2 of the 6 couples, I believe 6, that are horrible. Because also, Jenny and Sumit, they're a horrible couple, complete disaster train wreck, but they're still together. They got married. We all know finally after 10 years they finally got married, but the big secret, because Jenny and Sumit always have to have a big secret. Their big secret was that they were not going to tell Sumit's parents until the tell-all. Well, the tell-all rolled around. We got to see it last night, and they never actually told his parents. They were there. The parents were basically just saying, you know what? You guys are adults. If you want to get married, because they don't know that he got married. So they were saying it like, you know, if you want to get married, and they were just saying, if you want to do it, you're an adult, you live together, you can get married if you want to get married, but we will not be there supporting you guys. And instead of Sumit just saying, hey, you know what? We actually got married. It's not some huge secret. They know it. They have internet access. So in a couple weeks, they can probably, you know, from when the tell was filmed, they could probably see everything on 90 Day Fiancé and watch the episodes themselves. And honestly, when you're on these TV shows, a lot of the times they'll just send you the episode before it even goes live. So that might not be true for this show, but all I'm saying is, like, if they expect that his parents aren't going to see it on the internet or actually live on TV, them getting married, it's just the fakest thing ever. So I don't know why Sumit didn't tell his parents. Maybe he's legitimately nervous. I think he's just a coward and a liar. I think he's more so a liar than a coward, though. I think he just lies and lies and lies. And Jenny's just, I hate to be so negative, but it's like Jenny's the same thing that Ellie's doing. She's floating the relationship. She's going along with it, while Sumit just makes up lies and crap that makes no sense. But that was his plan, was to tell his parents, hey, we got married. And then Sean kept kind of pushing him in that direction. She was saying, do you have anything else to say, Sumit? And Sumit just said, nope, no. And that was it. And they ended it. And he never told his parents that he got married. So once again, just, you know, coward to think he's a liar, not a fan of Sumit. So we had those 3 couples, all complete train wreck disasters. And we might as well go over to the next one that's a train wreck disaster. And that would be Corey and Evelyn. Once again, they're a train wreck disaster. Them as a couple, they're not doing well. Now, yeah, they got married on 90 Day Fiancé. They had a wedding, but they got married like a year before that. So really, they've been married for quite some time. They were kind of on again, off again. Basically, they're not happy. They're constantly fighting, so they say. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's just a lie. I don't know if they're trying to get drama for the show. I have no idea. But we did get to see Evelyn's sisters go on. Okay, they were fighting like crazy with Corey. Then we got to see Corey's brother come on the show. He was kind of fighting with, like, Evelyn's sisters. It was very bizarre, but they were both basically just kind of bashing the other one. Evelyn's sisters were bashing Corey. Corey's brother was kind of bashing Evelyn, but also he was kind of bashing Corey. He hasn't ever visited him. It's been 7 years since Corey's been there, and not one person has visited him. He didn't go to the wedding, which I think a lot of the excuse was the pandemic, which I kind of get that excuse, and it's expensive, and it was probably super last minute notice. So I kind of get why he didn't go to the wedding. And honestly, from what I've heard about Corey, it sounds like he's probably not trying to maintain the relationship with his family. He's probably not reaching out. I mean, just from what I've heard, I could be wrong, but that's what it kind of sounds like. He's probably really just kind of hit or miss and not reaching out to his family, not staying in touch, not staying in contact with them. And that's kind of what the brother was saying. It's like, over the years, we never hear from you. You know, you're very quiet. And it's like, more than likely, Corey probably kind of just dropped that one. So Corey and Evelyn, once again, train wreck, awful disaster of a couple relationship. They're not good together. They shouldn't be together. The brother came out and just basically said that, and the sisters were saying the same thing. And the basic gist is, Corey's family doesn't like Evelyn, Evelyn's family doesn't like Corey, and Corey and Evelyn kind of don't even like each other. So are they still together in present day? I don't know. I've heard so many rumors that Evelyn was dating other guys and this and that, and so I don't know what to believe. All I know what to believe is just that they're an awful train wreck of a couple. Now, on a bit more of a positive note, we got to see Kenny and Armando, and they really did not have an issue this entire season. All their issues seemed kind of forced and fabricated by the show. Now, the only issue that they kind of somewhat sort of had was with the dad, Armando's dad, going to the wedding, being uncomfortable, not wanting to be there, not being very accepting. But the guy came to the wedding, and he couldn't have really been much more accepting. He was basically just saying he 100% accepts them. To the point where when they showed the clip, not only was Armando crying, but Sumit was crying. He thought it was so sweet and nice. And of course, he claims, I've always wanted that kind of acceptance from my family, so it made him emotional, whatever. Once again, Sumit just, being a liar, but it probably was true. It was a very sweet and emotional scene, especially for Armando. Armando's a very nice guy. I think he desperately wanted his family's, mainly his dad's, permission and approval and all that kind of stuff, and he really got it. And he never saw that clip before. It was at the wedding. The dad was saying it's a beautiful thing. It was probably one of the cooler moments from this 90 Day Fiancé scene, just because Armando is such a nice guy, and his dad was so uncomfortable when we first met him, and now it's like for him to say that, he's really come a long way. It was pretty cool to see. So Kenny and Armando, they're happy, they're laughing, they're doing well. The only kind of somewhat sort of issue that they kind of somewhat had, besides the dad thing, because the dad thing with Armando's dad, it was real quick. It came and went because, you can't talk about it because the dad was so happy. So that wasn't really drama. But then with the only kind of issue we had was the kid thing, because Armando and Kenny, somewhat sort of, mainly Armando, want to have a kid. Now, they were talking about adoption or other options, what they were going to do. The mom was against adoption, and the kids were kind of for adoption. So Kenny's kids wanted them to adopt, and Armando's mom did not want them to adopt. And Kenny's kids' reasoning was because, hey, 2 of his kids have babies now, and they were just sitting like, okay, Armando, Dad, Kenny, Dad, we think that you are way too old to have a newborn baby. Whereas you're saying if you adopted a kid, maybe he's 5 or 10 or 7 years old or something, a little bit older, then okay, you won't be, 78 years old or something when the kid's 18. You know what I'm saying? It's like he'll be younger when the kid's 18, and it'll be better kind of a thing. Maybe you get something more like Hannah's age, and I don't know. I think that either way you do it, they do have good intentions, Kenny and Armando, whether they adopt or they don't adopt or whatever they do, or they don't get a kid in general. I think they have good intentions. I think they're good people. They're funny. I think they're cool. And yeah, it is kind of sad for the kids. I was not in favor of what, Kenny did by leaving his kids, and I wasn't, but there does come a time and place, like, he didn't leave them when the kids were like 13. Like, they're all in their mid-20s. It's sad. It's a bummer. He should probably visit more than he's been visiting. Of course, we just, got through a pandemic, and he's outside of the country, but it's like, yeah, he should probably visit, but I don't know his schedule. I don't know his routine. I don't know his financial situation. Maybe the guy doesn't have much money, but I do feel bad for the kids. I will say that, though. I actually kind of felt, I could kind of see the abandonment thing. And then, of course, if he has another kid, then he'll probably come to America even less. So I can see where the kids are coming from. Armando's mom was like totally against the adoption thing, which was kind of actually shocking. But I guess Armando said that just in Mexico, adoption isn't very common, which is kind of sad because it's like, I don't know. I think adoption's a really cool thing. So yeah, Kenny and Armando, though, they're happy. They're doing well. I wish those two well. They're a good couple. And for his kids, I can honestly kind of see why. It's a sad situation. I kind of feel like the best alternative would be maybe they come to America more or they figure out a way to come here or come here more often or just something. But I do feel bad for his kids. And last but not least, very, very, very quickly would be Ari and Biniyam. We got to basically see three things. Number one, the quick thing is Biniyam, like I said, he's here in America. Once again, like Ellie and Victor, they played it real low key. It was hush hush. They didn't talk about it much. It was just, hey, you're here. What happened? Okay, he went to the K1 visa interview, and guess who actually went with him? At the last second, Ari said she ended up flying to Ethiopia with him, and his K1 visa got approved, and that is that. And now they are sunshine and rainbows, living in America, doing very well. They seem very happy. So that was the first. And the second thing was, we got to see Biniyam's sisters come on in the chat, and or the Skype, Zoom, whatever the heck it was, and they were talking. They're fighting like crazy with Ari. I don't know if it's true. If it's true, they're pretty rude to Ari, and Ari's pretty rude to them. If it's not, then it's just fake for the show. But they were fighting about Biniyam and this and the women and all. I don't, it was just, these people just come up with anything to bicker about. And Ari, she was going back and forth with him, and she was like screaming at these people. So it was just a big bicker fest. It was really kind of stupid. And then we also got to see Ari's ex-husband, Leandro, who I think is 110% inappropriate with his relationship with Ari. I think he says things he shouldn't say. I think he is in way too close communication with Ari, and I just think it's inappropriate and sad and unfortunate for Biniyam, especially when he has those trust issues, and that's a big, big, big red flag for me. I don't think Ari would ever act on it. I don't think she has bad intentions, but it's like, you know what? That ship has sailed. You broke up with this guy. You left him for Binny. So leave him. You can say hi to him. You can be in distant contact with him every couple months or whatever, but it's like, you should not be talking to this guy for 3 hours on the phone every week or so. It's like, at that point, you should have stayed married with him. And the crazy thing is that we finally discovered is that, if you don't already know, when Ari ended up getting pregnant by Biniyam, she was still legally married to Leandro. And Leandro said that it just, it was just a downward spiral. So it just didn't happen overnight, that their marriage, but it's like, they were still legally married. So I can really legitimately see why Biniyam has these extra bad trust issues, because Ari doesn't have a good track record. Not at all. And I kind of think she played both of them. But, I don't know. I wish them well. I think that they do love each other, Ari and Biniyam. I wish this Leandro got to get out of the picture, and I think he is really just stubborn and not a big fan of him. But, yeah, I wish these people well. They're a cute couple. They're here in America, and we'll probably, from what I've heard, we'll probably be seeing more of them. I don't know where, though. It might be 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, because a couple weeks ago, Biniyam was doing like a boxing match, and Angela from 90 Day Fiancé was actually there, and there was a camera crew. So it's probably Happily Ever After, and we'll probably be seeing it with Angela, and we'll probably be seeing it with Ari and Biniyam, and it will probably be after the next season of 90 Day Fiancé that is coming on right now. Well, alright guys, 90 Day Fiancé Tell All. It was a solid tell-all, pretty good drama. Steven and Alina, I can't even tell you how bad I feel for her. They always say, what's that saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, kind of thing. Okay, this girl's been fooled like 15 different times. So, shame on her at this point. It's sad. I think she's very naive and innocent and wants to make this thing work, and it's like, there comes a time and place where it's like, you can't change some people, and if he's not willing to change, you can't change him, you gotta move on. It's very, 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 very sad. I felt bad for her all season. I think she's a lovely, just a sweet, nice, innocent person, really just so sweet and innocent and just a nice girl, but it's like, you can't change this guy. This guy has problems. He's not a nice guy. I don't think he has a big heart, and she needs to run. And for the other couples, just kind of what you'd expect. I can only sit here and hope and pray that we never see Jenny and Sumit back on our TVs ever again, because this storyline, at least to me, is starting to get a little bit old. Well, guys, 90 Day Fiancé, thank you all so much for watching. If you are new to this channel, please do me a huge favor, hit that like, follow, share, subscribe button, and y'all better stay tuned for many more videos.